Hello, everyone. We are going to give everyone a few more minutes to trickle in, and then we will get started. And as you can see, there's been a change in lineup and who's speaking today, but I will get to that a little bit later. So everyone grab your afternoon snack or use a bio break, and we'll get started shortly. All right, everyone, we are 3 minutes past 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to go ahead and get. All right, there was a little echo on my side. Okay, so brief hello to everyone. First off, thank you, welcome. Thanks so much for being here today with us. We are so excited that you're here. My name is Emma Chaves. I manage marketing here at Playground. And today's webinar is brought to you by everyone here at Playground. We are a child care management software that's built to help programs like yours run more smoothly so you can focus on what matters most, which is the kids and the families you serve. A brief note on who we are here at Playground. We serve over 300,000 providers, staff, teachers, and families across the US. And we got into this work because our mission is to make excellent childcare accessible to everyone. That mission is what drives everything we do here at Playground. And we are in the really fortunate position to be in conversation with thousands of providers like yourself every week. Providers and owners are reaching out to us about our software, or we're talking to them face to face through national or regional events in person. And also, we get to talk to you every week through our online professional development platform, Early Childhood Investigations. These conversations mean everything to us. They keep us motivated, they keep us working, and they're exactly why we partner with leaders in the space who bring their research, insights, and real-world learnings to the table so that they can share the important work they do every day with others who might not be having these conversations quite as frequently. Quick note before we dive in. While the original presenter here was Sasha Rice, as you can see, we are now joined by Dr. Tamar Andrews, and we are so very lucky to have Tamar stepping in for us today. She is a director of early childhood education programs and associate professor at American Jewish University, where she leads their BA, MA, ED, and ED programs in early childhood education. Dr. Andrews has spent over 35 years in this field as teacher, director, mentor, professor, international speaker, and consultant. She's also presented at more than 400 conferences around the world. So we are very thankful that she stepped in today to take the place of Sasha and walk us through tour scripting, follow-ups, and how to make the tours work better for enrollment and your classrooms. And with that, I will turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So glad to be here and excited to be sharing my experiences with all of you. Today, we're going to talk about the tour and how the tour could possibly be the most important aspect of your childcare business. The tour is where you either make or break those potential customers, and you either turn them into wins or they walk out that door and go to another center. I want to also tell you about today's agenda, what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking a little bit about the tour script framework. If you think it's okay to just get up there and just talk and shoot from the hip, you couldn't be more wrong. You really need to plan the agenda for what you're going to say on these tours to make sure you hit all of the notes that you want to make sure to share. We're also going to talk about how to convert those tours into actual enrollment, children in seats, money to pay your teachers, yourselves, and keep the lights on. And finally, how to automate your tour follow-up so that you never let a single potential customer fall through the cracks. Because nothing can be worse than a family thinking, oh, they don't even know who I am. We're going to go to a poll, and I'm going to leave that over back to my esteemed colleagues here at Playground. So if you don't mind, just take a quick second, interactive. When a family inquires at your center, what typically happens next? Do you follow up the same day? Do you follow up within 2 to 3 days? Do you try, but it's not always consistent? Are you mostly reactive? You wait for the families to kind of get back to you first. If they want us, they're going to call us. And so many of you follow up the same day. Amazing. Quite a few of you follow up within 2 to 3 days. And some of you are hitting it in a different direction. So we're going to talk about that today, as we're going to talk a little bit more than just a bit today about that. So we're going to keep that up for a minute. We're also going to cover today, you're going to hear me mention this a few times, the 4-part tour framework. What I want you to think about is that a tour is very much like going to the theater, right? When you go to the theater, you've got actors on stage, and you either fall in love with them right away, you connect with them right away, or you sit back with your hands folded going, oh, why did I come here? Same thing happens on a tour. You have the introduction, you have the discovery, you have the inquiry, and you have the conclusion. All 4 of those parts dovetail together in a way that makes families feel that they want to belong to your center, or that they might go and check out the school down the block to see if it's something better. And we're going to talk about all those components. So let's just dive right in. When they come on the tour, many people, the first thing they want to do is they want to brag about their center. Look at this, look at this, look at all this stuff, look at the money we're spending, look at what we've got, look, 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 look. I want you to stop and think for a minute. What is the most important element to the families that are on that tour? The most important thing is not what they see in the school. It's not what they see children doing. It's their own child. Will my own child actually be welcome here and fit in? And so if you flip the script that you normally use and instead ask a question about the child first. What's your child's name? Do you have a photo of her? Tell me about Maya. What's she like? Oh, wow. Look, she's in a Superman costume. Does she like to play dress up? Tell me more about that. All of a sudden now, what the parent really hears is, oh, Ms. Chen, you care about my child. You're interested in my child. I didn't get that on my last tour. Okay, now I'm leaning in a little bit closer because I'm feeling something here. I'm connecting to the actors on stage. Well, mom answers, she's 4. She loves anything hands-on, especially art, but she takes a little while to warm up in a new place. New environments make her nervous. So mom is now giving you some information. Again, what you could say is something superficial like, oh, don't worry, we'll handle that. That's not going to appease or assuage mom's anxieties about dropping off little Maya in some stranger's care, right? So instead, if you say, once she finds something she's into, does she settle in pretty quickly? Oh, Now Miss Chen wants to know even more about my child. I haven't even signed on the dotted line yet. I haven't given any money and she's already interested in my child. Let's keep going. Well, and so mom answers her, yes, if something catches her attention, she's fine. It's really just those first few minutes. We've tried 2 other programs and drop off was always the hard part. So now you've got more information to work from. Now you know that Maya's already been in 2 other childcare programs. Mom's probably a little jaded, right? She's a little anxious because it hasn't worked out at those other 2 programs. Mom also dresses like she's going to work, so she probably has to be able to drop off quickly. Otherwise, maybe her boss is going to get upset with her. So we keep looking at this play on the stage, if you will. And Miss Chen says, that's great to know. Let me show you something that might help with this. So already Miss Chen is creating a relationship, establishing a sense of community for Rachel, the mom. And what she's really saying is, you haven't even signed up here yet, but I already care for you. Unconditional positive regard for other people. Wow, if this is how Miss Chen is on the tour, I wonder what the school is like during the regular work day, during the regular school day. And so Miss Chen takes her over to a classroom and says, this is where we start every morning. Children come in and there's always something waiting at the tables. Today it's collage, tomorrow might be watercolor or clay. And Miss Chen also speaks with a low and slow voice. Why? Because a low and slow voice is calming, soothing. When we talk very excitedly, the other person on the receiving end tends to have their blood pressure, their heart rate raised a little bit. You don't want to motivate somebody's heart rate to go up on a tour. You want them to feel calm, at peace, at ease. So now what Rachel thinks is, oh, Maya would love this. So already mom is feeling a part of this program. She hasn't signed up yet, but she already feels that she can imagine her daughter being here. Well, that's the idea, Miss Chen says. For a child like Maya, the art pulls her in first thing. By the time we move to circle time, she's already been doing something she loves for 20 minutes. Was there anything you saw today that raised a concern or a question? And so mom says, well, the drop-off thing is still on my mind. If she has a hard morning, what does that actually look like? So again, more information. Mom still isn't convinced. So I'm not going to go into this in detail, but Miss Chen is now actually explaining the drop-off procedure. She's giving mom the time she needs, the space she needs to feel comfortable in this place. The other thing too is that mom really wants her husband to come see the school. Miss Chen is fine. We do second tours all the time. I'll hold your spot. He can come take a look. And what's your timeline? So here is what you've got to add into your script. You want to give them, in their own sense, a timeline by which they are going to make a decision about your center. You might have other people coming on tours tomorrow. You might have a spot that you really would like to fill. You don't really want to do tours every single day. You'd like to close the deal. So mom says, we were hoping to figure it out by the end of the week. Great. It's about 48 to 72 hours. So now Miss Chen says, I'm going to send you a few things tomorrow morning. And she tells mom what she's going to send. She also asks, what's the best way to reach you? She doesn't want to send a follow-up that'll be dropped in an email or send a text that might be overlooked. So she asks mom. Finally, at the end of this whole scenario that's acting out on the stage before us, mom says that email is great. And Miss Chen says, great, I'll send you an email tomorrow morning. Now, I want you to just think about it for a moment. What would happen if Miss Chen did not send that email tomorrow morning? And you can message if you're sitting by a computer or a phone, you can say something. But what do you think would happen if that email doesn't arrive? What is Rachel's perception of this childcare center going to be? I would even say, what happens if that email doesn't arrive until later in the day, maybe 12 or 1 o'clock? And if you say it's going to lose the deal and she's going to walk, you're probably right. Why? because Miss Chen spent so much time building up the rapport with Rachel. Rachel is starting to trust Miss Chen. And yep, Tori exactly dropped the ball. Parent might think it was a hoax. Exactly. Exactly. It was all a show. This was all a stage play. It was a theater. And as soon as the makeup and the curtains close, it's not at all what we see. If you say you're going to send an email tomorrow morning, don't send it today. Don't send it tomorrow afternoon. You want to send it tomorrow morning. And I would strongly urge you that if you are going to send the email, what you want to do is you want to write the email today so that you don't forget, and then use the scheduler to make sure that email goes out on time in the morning. By the way, you're more than welcome to put any questions, chat. Would love to hear from you guys as I'm talking. Okay, let's talk about this tour and refining your script. What you really want to say is, we have small classes. We provide daily reports and updates. We've been in business for 15 years. I have a doctorate in early childhood. That's really not what the parents are looking for. That is like putting a really nice gift in a Tiffany box. The box is nice, but I really want to know what's inside the box. What if you have the package ready during the tour? Oh, Olga, hold that thought. I'm going to get to that. That's actually a great question. I've got a slide about that later on. Great minds think alike, Olga. So back to this thing, what they really want to see is what's in the box. And so what should be in the box is, your child will get lots of individual attention every day. You always will know how your child's day went. We will message you. Families have named us their number one choice for 15 years. Those are important things. I want you to think for a minute. When you go on Amazon, and I'm sure most of you probably go on Amazon, or you go look at a restaurant, how many of you actually look to see what the ratings are or the reviews? I know that I just made a recipe the other day. I was trying to make a really cool lemon coconut cake. And so I Googled it and I looked for the recipe that had the most ratings that were high. I found one that had 7 ratings, all 5s, but then I found another one that had 28 ratings and they were all 5s. I went with the recipe that had the 28 ratings. Why? Because we want to see what other people think too. We tend to follow the herd in some ways, right? So if all these families are going to this childcare center and they all love it, it must be something that I should try as well. So being in business for 15 years is not the same as families naming us their number one choice for 15 years. And Olga says every time for almost everything, even doctors. Oh, Olga, especially doctors. Absolutely. I always look at reviews for doctors. Excellent. By the way, you want to pay close attention, like we just did in this scenario, to the questions families repeatedly ask, proactively addressing those topics during the tour and reinforcing them in your follow-up emails and on your website. So if parents are asking you some very pointed questions and you see them coming up often, your website, your print material, your advertising material should represent this as well, because it's obviously some kind of a concern in your community. And so here is that important number, the 72-hour enrollment window. This is where your enrollment is won or lost. You know, many of you might have also gone to like these timeshare presentations, hotel presentations, where they say, the deal is only good today. If you walk out that door, this deal is not going to be here. You've got to make your decision right now. You don't want parents walking around overthinking something that's really great. Not only that, but you also want to know, are they going to come or are they not going to come to our child care center? The 72-hour window is really where those decisions are usually made. And so you want to make sure that you maximize that window to the best of your ability. We're going to keep talking about this. So after the tour, so Olga, and this is directed at you as well, I like to have the package ready at the end of the tour. And as a matter of fact, For about 20 years, I was preschool director at one center. I just retired from there about 3 years ago. Feels very old. I'm now director emeritus. I don't know exactly what that means. Anyways, and so what I would do is I would have a batch of homemade Play-Doh. So the color of our school was like this maroon, and I had perfected getting maroon, the color maroon, into homemade Play-Doh. And I would take a ball about the size of a baseball, maybe a little smaller, and I would wrap it just in clear cellophane with 2 address labels. One address label on one side with our little tiny logo had the recipe for homemade Play-Doh, so they knew exactly what the ingredients were. You never know about allergies as well. And on the other side was the name of our center, our email, our website, and my phone number. And that way they walked out not just with paper. Everybody gives people paper. But this way they would walk out with something tangible to give to little Maya when they got home. And it would be a reminder again of our center. Think about when you go to events. Some events, when you're done, you kind of hug and kiss your friends and you walk home or walk to your car. And some events will have a little goodie bag at the end, something for you to take with afterwards. So that as you're driving home, you're looking at it in the car, you get home, you put it on your kitchen counter, you see it again. It reminds you of how you felt in that tour with that center. In that package with the Play-Doh, you can either have your enrollment materials ready. I like to have it all on the app. By the way, if you don't already know this, Playground was actually created for me. It was a need that I had in my childcare center, and it was made for that childcare center that I worked for 20 years. And paper was just a nightmare. And not only that, but imagine losing somebody's phone number, not remembering their name, not remembering if they came on the tour, even in emergencies, not having all the paperwork at your fingertips. So I like to have everything that's already put into the app, including enrollment materials, enrollment deadlines, spot hold policies, absolutely everything. And that way I can communicate with parents. I don't lose anything, and they don't have to keep writing their name over and over again because it's already pre-populated into anything else that they do. I also want to talk about a winning email. These emails, these communications, these are also what can make or break. By the way, I know that many of us, myself included now, we like to use AI, but I just want to give one little note. AI is not going to be as warm and delicious as your own voice. Make sure that even if you use AI, that you are still going to personalize emails, put your tone, your voice, your personality into those emails, because at the end of the day, parents are going to choose your childcare center if they trust you, if they feel they're getting to know you. Raquel, thank you. I don't know which idea you're talking about. I'm going to assume maybe it's the Play-Doh. And for anybody that doesn't have the Play-Doh recipe, I'm going to give you my contact information at the end. And you are more than welcome to use my Play-Doh recipe. All right. Hey, Hannah.
Oh, hey there. All right. So thank you so much, first of all. Dr. Andrews, it's always such a pleasure to hear you speak and discuss your personal experiences, which really were not that long ago, to your point. It might feel like a while ago, but very relevant. And the wisdom, the experience you bring, and the way you tell your stories is always so fantastic. So thank you. I hope everyone's been able to take a lot away from the presentation and the explanation of what a good tour looks like. Before we end, though, I do want to leave time for Q&A. Before we get to that, though, just to follow up on what Dr. Andrews was saying about emails, keeping things digital, keeping things on your phone, making sure that everything is in one place. So when you want to reach out to that parent right after they leave and make sure you don't drop the ball on that follow-up, there is a tool and a system that does all of that for you. And as Dr. Andrews was saying, we actually created this system for her. This system, it's Playground, It is everything in one, and I'll explain that a little bit more a little bit later. But the one part of this system that I think really hits home for the tour scriptings and the automated follow-ups, whether or not you're writing those emails anew every time or you're using a template that we've built for you, is the CRM. The customer relationship manager allows you to build in emails and sequences that combine emails and text messages to go out to different people depending on what stage of inquiry, touring they're in. And if you want somewhere to manage all of your self-scheduling tour links, somewhere to manage all of your leads, contain all of the contact information, all of the student information, all in one place, that's what this CRM is about. It's putting everything that you might need for the actual lead, touring, enrollment, and prospecting process into one place. Moving on, again, Playground is the only software a childcare program really needs to run and grow. When you have Playground, whether it's the enrollment and the CRM and the prospecting, or it's the billing, the attendance, Playground supports every single function of your childcare program. So we're talking about everything from the back office, the billing, the expenses, the payroll, the subsidies, to what's happening in the classroom face to face. Your teacher's taking attendance, or there's a text they got from a parent about a student, or there's something they want to do to notify the whole school about, and they want to post live in the feed, or maybe they need to change a lesson plan ad hoc very quickly. So that's back office, that's in classroom, in the actual cafeteria with the food prep programming, to also, as we were talking about, the enrollment, the prospecting, and the tour process. All of that can happen in one system. You only need one login, and it was all inspired by really Dr. Andrews' need to have a tool that worked better than what she had all those years ago. And it's since grown to what it is, a full service, end-to-end childcare program management platform. On that, here is a photo of Dr. Andrews' sons and their childhood best friend, Sasha Rice, who could not make it here today, but he will be back for our third installment of the Work Smarter webinar series 2 weeks from now. And if you want to follow up and chat with someone on our platform technology team, learn more about what Playground as a platform does, or even just get a technical consultation and evaluation of your current technology stack, just scan right through or click on that book a demo CTA. We'll reach back out ASAP following our own words of wisdom. We will make sure to not leave you hanging. And I'll just leave that slide up for a little bit. Dr. Andrews, I wanted to turn it back to you since we have some time towards the end. Sure. I want to let everyone kind of toss some questions in the chat or the Q&A. I'm sure everyone has both like huge success stories and some horror stories of like tours that went really well or went really wrong. Would love to hear more about that from everyone who's in the audience with us today. And then Dr. Andrews, I'm curious if there's one particular tour or like kind of tour that really sticks out in your mind as something that you weren't expecting to go well, that went really well.
Yeah. And it helps answer Olga's question. She wanted to know if I recommend bringing kids on the tour. And the answer is actually no. And the reason why is threefold. Number one, parents are going to walk in on a tour slightly anxious. And, children are really good at reading body language. You want the child's first experience at that child care center to be one where the parents are already comfortable with the child care center. I'm going to let you in on a few of my secrets of how I operated. The school I ran for 20 years, I have never owned my own childcare center. It's always been, I've worked for nonprofits. And we started out, we had 85 children with a licensing capacity of 360. And I was able to bring it up to 360 with the following tips. Hopefully, it'll work for some of you. Number one, I always made group tours. Even if they were small, I always made them group tours. And during the tour, as I gave my little spiel, I would say something like, look around the room and take a look at the people that are here. Because did you know that most families make their lifelong friends when their children attend preschool? You start off by being invited to each other's birthday parties, and then it morphs into soccer clubs, right, or AYSO, and play dates. And then sooner or later, you see that you're having family meals together. You might even go on a trip or an RV trip together as families. And these are going to be your friends. In fact, my two best friends are the ones that I made when my son Josh was playing with his friend Sean that lived right down the block from us. And now the three adults, we travel the world together. So these are where you're going to make your friends. The other reason why you don't want to bring your kids and why you want to have a group tour is because you want them to see that there is critical mass that's interested in your preschool. When families come one at a time, they don't know if anybody else is vying for that spot. They might try to hold you over a barrel. They might try to prolong, the length of time that they're going to tell you whether or not they want the spot. So when they see other families there, they know they need to make a decision quickly because others might be vying for the same spot. And the third reason I always had a group tour was because my time is valuable. If I give individual tours, then I'm taking away time from meeting with my families, meeting with my teachers, being in the classroom, taking care of billing or any of the other jobs that I have as the preschool director, or for some of you as the owner. When you have a group, you are, the expression, work smarter, not harder. Individual tours can suck up your entire day. So for those three reasons, I really advocate large tours. I will also tell you there's a couple other really good questions. Gavi wanted to know what the top tips were for letting people know about your program so they'll come for a tour. So I have to share with you a really funny thing that happened. I was not a parent in the preschool. I was the preschool director, but I was sitting there getting my nails done. And as the director, I would get all the playground notifications on my phone. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my phone and I start laughing. And the lady next to me, we had been kibitzing a little. She's much younger than I was. And she said, "Oh, what's so funny? Good joke on like TikTok." And I said, "No, actually, it's the app for the childcare center that I run." The teacher just sent the cutest picture to the class. And I showed her the picture very quickly so she wouldn't see, identifying details. And she said, "Oh, what childcare center is that?" And I said, "Oh, it's, so-and-so down the block." And pretty soon, two other women that were all getting their nails done, you could see them perking up, listening to the conversation about what childcare center we were talking about. You want people to talk about your childcare center. So Gavi, what you want to do is you want to set yourself apart. The way that I did that was I made it a STEM-focused childcare center. Parents are very interested in their children's future. And STEM is not the future, it's here now. I mean, you're all participating on a webinar on STEM, right? This is a technological advance that allows you to join with vision, right? With visual from anywhere in the world. It's fantastic. And so knowing that we were a STEM-focused school really brought in a lot of interest into the school. But again, if you're going to say you're STEM focused, you've got to become STEM focused. A lot of the work I do now is traveling the country, helping schools create STEM programs for that reason. You also might want to bring in a speaker or even just a CPR class for your entire community for working adults in the evening, or maybe for nannies or other childcare workers. Show them that you are not just a child care center, but that you are invested in the community in which you exist. Gavi, again, I've got lots of these. I don't want to take up everybody's time, but I could just do a webinar just on how to get people to know about your center. And then Tori said that her boss is stuck on a different app. How can I convince her your system's better? I'm going to tell you, you just need to schedule a demo with Sasha. Sasha is, I mean, I've known him since he was little growing up in my house. He's the coolest kid. I think Sasha could sell, it is the best app. It can be, you just have to see why it's better. I think many people are also kind of like the bank that you probably bank at. It's not the best, maybe, but it's just too much of a pain to think of changing banks. But Playground will do it all for them. I know that's how they did it for me. And then Tori also asked, when doing a tour, is it necessary to show the whole building or just the playground and the room they come to sign up in? Oh, Tori, the whole school. You want them to see the whole picture, and I'll tell you why. If I only have a 2-year-old and I only see the 2-year-old classroom, then when I go to the park and I talk to a mom or a dad, and they've got a 3-year-old and they're like, oh, where does your child go to school? And I say, oh, the 2-year-old program at, Playground Preschool. I can't say anything about the 3-year-old classroom. You want them to be able to speak about the whole program. You also want them to know where their 2-year-old will be next year. You want to give them a sense of FOMO, like, oh my gosh, my child has to go to this preschool because when they get to the 3-year-old class, they're going to get this. And when they get to the 4-year-old class, they're going to get this. So you want them to see the whole thing. What if you don't have enough people to make a group tour? Well, then, Gabby, then you do a tour with whoever you've got. But even if you can get 2 families together at the same time, that would be great. And maybe get someone, as they say, a filler. Raquel, I did that in the very beginning. I would have my 2 friends come show up for tours to be fillers, just like they do at the Oscars or theaters, right? To make it look like it's full. Absolutely. Do whatever it takes, because if you really believe that you've got an excellent product, right, then having those fillers is not going to change the product you're selling. It's just going to help you sell the product. We never want to fake what we actually do with children. I think that's like a cardinal sin. What they see should be what really goes on in your childcare center. Any other questions? I could go on and on. I love what I do. All right. Well, this is me. That is my cell phone number. That is my email. I opened up my own degree program because I didn't like the others. It is at American Jewish University. You don't have to be Jewish. It is on Zoom. So it's live classes, but on Zoom in the evenings. And we have a bachelor's, master's in special ed and inclusion, and a doctorate in early childhood education. And I would love to answer any questions about that if anybody has offline. How does it differ from Brightwheel? I think we're not going to talk about other programs here. I think for most of you, the best thing you can probably do is book a demo, and then take it for a test run. I will tell you, though, honestly, without mentioning names, the reason this app was created for me was because I had an app that was not working well. I had 365 kids, 75 teachers, and you are only going to be as strong a program as your weakest link, whether it's a weak teacher, a weak app, a weak car line and drop-off procedure, whatever it is. And so I simply went to my 2 boys one weekend. I was crying, and I said, I don't know what to do. This app is so bad. Can you guys fix it for me? And they said, oh my gosh, Mom, yeah, just give it to us. We'll just make you a new one. And so they made me an app. And back then it was actually called Carline because it was used because my car line was not working. Imagine trying to get 385 kids in and out of a school within 25 minutes every single day, twice a day. So that's how it was started. Raquel, thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure to fill in for Sasha today.
Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Andrews. If we could do a warm round of applause and hear everyone, I'd ask for that, but you'll just have to suffice with me clapping. Thanks to everyone else for all of your time and for being here with us today. I will reiterate what Dr. Andrews said. Really, if you have questions about a current program or current software system you're on and how it differs from Playground, the best way you're going to be able to see and understand the difference is to book a demo and just see it for yourself. It's one of those platforms where once you see it and you start to see the comprehensive whole, that's when you start to see the difference. And it's easier shown than just talked about. I will say for the person who is asking about convincing their director, just have your director on that call with you. Make sure they also show up. Again, it's way easier to just show rather than tell. And trust me, the platform walks the walk. You're going to want to see it in action versus just hear about it. There's only so much words can do. Again, huge thank you to everyone here, and another thank you to Dr. Andrews. We would love to see you again for our third installment of this series in 2 weeks from now. And the recording of this webinar will go out within the next 24 hours as soon as we have it uploaded and ready to send out to anyone who is having sound issues or wants the transcript or captions. And again, if you want to learn more about Playground or how we support childcare programs across the country, just head to tryplayground.com or click the link to book a demo or speak to one of the people on our teams. Thank you again to everyone. Have a great weekend and keep doing the incredible work you do. Thank you for the work that you do, everyone. Bye.